Welcome to the Square Ring podcast. I'm Bobby D. We got Big Texan, Nasty Nate there. How you guys doing?
Doing good tonight.
Doing all right.
So we don't have too much to go over on the Saturday night shows, but we did have a TV taping there.
Yeah, I figured we'd go over the TV taping and the next couple of shows that we got going on.
Yeah, the poster for the 14th show is out now. You sent me that, so.
Yeah, there's a couple really big events, main events for that one.
Yeah, let's see here. On the 14th, so one that just got announced, match on the 14th, and I sent you the pictures, Nate, so you can fill those in too. The Boogie Woogie Boys coming back. Gary
I didn't see that one.
Yeah. He's coming back, and he's facing a newcomer. Gotta love these Southern names and the Southern wrestlers, but this newcomer is called Cooter. So Cooter is going against the Boogie Woogie Boy.
Is that the one that had the rope on his hand in the picture you sent me? Is that Cooter?
I think that's Cooter. We can double check afterwards, just so we can make sure. But gotta love the Southern wrestlers.
That the Big Texan is making fun of Southern wrestlers.
Well, I guess in Texas we can come up with better names. I mean, I'm a good old Southern boy, and Dukes of Hazzard. There's a guy, a mechanic named Cooter, so I get where they're coming from, but it's just funny to say.
Dukes of Hazzard. That's the one with Jessica Simpson, right?
The New Day Dukes of Hazzard, the movie, yes.
I never watched those. I watched the series.
Right.
With Roscoe.
Yeah, I think that was off the air before I was alive.
Nick at night, you can still watch it on there.
I was going to say, that's always in reruns. January the 14th, East Carondelet. That's our next show date, after the Christmas and New Year's. We already announced that one match, Boogie Woogie Boy versus Cooter. But another match is going to be a big one. It's Flash Flanagan versus Andrew Anderson, otherwise known as Purple Haze.
Purple Haze.
Purple Haze. And, of course, he's going to have that special manager in his corner, Kevin Sullivan. Right, Kevin Sullivan.
But then there's two guys from the versus the Goon Squad too, isn't it?
Well, we should back up a little bit and talk, though, that it turned out at the last show that Kevin Sullivan was the one writing these letters about Flash. And then that came out, and so now here they come to back it up.
There's, if you go on Facebook and go into SICW, just type that into Facebook, you can actually see a couple promos that Kevin Sullivan had done, talking about what they're going to do to Flash Flanagan and why they want to do it. Again, they're just saying that he's not the good guy that everyone thinks that he is, that there's some evil in him, and they plan on bringing that out. But yeah, so...
well, you remember those groups. If anybody can do it, it's Kevin.
That's true. Army of... What? No. What was his thing in WCW? Was it the Army of Darkness?
I thought it was the Legion of Doom.
Oh, no. The Dungeon. Dungeon
of Doom.
Something like that. But he had some weird characters in that group. Including one of my favorites, Captain Jack. I remember it was a Shark Boy, it was John Tenta. He was some sort of shark character. And of course, they had the Big Show.
Yeah.
The Big Show started out the Giant.
The Giant. We could throw a drop kick at that time.
that he could. You climb the top rope anytime you wanted. But yeah, so Kevin Sullivan, he's like a type of person who brings out the worst in everyone, or what he would consider to be the best. But either way, it's going to be an interesting match to see Anderson with going with Flash. But you just can't rule Kevin Sullivan out because you know he's going to interfere somehow. He's got to play the mind games.
He's there for a reason. He will show everyone his reason, I'm sure.
Right. And then the only other match that's announced for that show is our match, the 6-man tag elimination match.
Well, elimination tag, not regular.
Right. So, like I was telling everyone last week, it can, if it happens, I can lose, you can lose, and it could be Gary versus Attila and Prater and Peyton. So it could be those three against me, it could be those three against you, it could be us three versus Attila.
That'd be nice.
It's going to be interesting what combination's going to happen that night.
Yeah.
Of course, Stephen E is going to be in their corner too. So I'm sure that...
so we're already starting 4 against 3.
Right. And the thing is, too, we really don't know because they seem to add a person like every month or every show. It seems like, because before it was Peyton, Stephen E was branching out to Joel Helms. And
they sold his contract.
Right. So it's going to be an interesting show. I mean, those are the only 3 matches that are announced so far, but, that 6-man is going to, that's a huge match right there, so it's almost like 3 matches all in that one, because, 3 people has got to get pinned.
Yeah.
And that's just
like you said, it can be any combination as well, so it can get crazy.
Right.
Now, is it a pin or thrown out of the ring and pin?
No, so it's going to be a
submission.
Yeah, pin or submission. Us 3 versus those 3, and it's going to get down to one person from a team. Hopefully, it's going to be 3 versus one person from their team, but it's going to be very interesting to see what goes on. But that's January 14th. Doors open at 6. The show starts at 7. Of course, if you go and watch that show, of course, the next day will be the TV tapings for January and February. So normally it's about 4 TV tapings, and it's totally free when you come to the Saturday night show. You just bring your ticket stub to the Sunday show, and you get in for free. So, again, like I said, it's always cool to have friends and family or fans, show up to both. And it's, you get basically 4 shows on Sunday for free that you can sit there and watch. So if you're really into wrestling, that's well worth the money for the Saturday night ticket. But yeah, East Carondelet, I'm sure Nathan, with everything you can do behind the keyboard, you can flash the phone number and the address again. That way they can call and reserve tickets. And it's kind of cool because, sometimes you might call and you might get Herb or you might get his daughter. It's that personal that the promoter or the promoter's daughter will be answering your phone to reserve your tickets. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But, the shows that are coming on is just, that's coming up. It's just crazy. We got, March 11th. We'll be back at East Carondelet. They haven't really announced wrestling matches for that show. I guess it all really depends on the 14th of January to determine what we're going to do. But the one that they have announced, and Nate, I don't know if you're probably not big into TikTok, but they announced Evidently on TikTok, there's a couple that's like going all across the U.S. because they're like the hottest sensation. They're called the Crazy Hillbillies. Now, I've only seen a couple of the videos, and are they crazy? Yes. Are they hillbillies? Yes. But it's not really a wrestling match or something like that. They sing. And so they'll get in the ring and they'll start singing old classic songs, but in like a hillbilly style. And when I say they're hillbillies, I mean when you see this guy, I mean, he looks like he's cross-eyed and he's, no shirt, no shoes, no socks. He's
Overalls.
just in overalls. And
He looks like his name should be Peter.
right. Actually, I tell you, it should be his wife because his wife comes out in like a halter top and like jean shorts, and I hate to say it, but she ain't got the flattest belly in the world. I mean, her belly's protruding. So
She got a Dunlap.
yeah, Dunlapped over that belt.
Well, she's proud.
And
That's what I'm seeing here. I don't see how they could do anything but.
Like I said, it's like an internet sensation. It's one of those internet phases that people are watching them because they're just crazy how they look, crazy how they sing, and
People want to see him, so Herb made it happen.
yeah, everyone wants to see him. So Herb said he actually got like 15 or 16 phone calls when he announced it. People just calling in and saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe you got them." So I mean, it's gonna be. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see. I ain't gonna say it's gonna be awesome or it's gonna be bad or anything. But if the world has made them like a pop sensation, I guess it wouldn't be bad to watch it and see what it's gonna be like. Yeah, he's little nasty Nate. Just because we got a big nasty Glenn Williams, which I don't know if you guys seen the TV program this week or the TV show this week. Big Nasty called me out on it, and we're gonna try to find a clip and so Nate can put this in there. But so yeah, he called me out, and in his little call out, he's like dishing out his own lariats to like a boxing bag.
Yeah.
And I doubt it, but he starts off. You can hear him start 998, 999, 1,000.
And that devastating.
So he's all pretending like he's hitting this bag 1,000 times doing a lariat. But I tell you, Nate, if you can get your hands on this video clip, this guy's not even breaking a sweat.
But I talked to Herb Simmons.
So he started at 998, 999.
Maybe he's just that good.
Me.
No.
Versus Lariat, the big Texan
some cat naming himself Big Nasty. You would think, and he's a big boy, and I'm a big boy, so I know we sweat. And there ain't no way he's doing 1,000 lariats and not sweating a drop, But yeah, so he called me out for a lariat match. So we're going to do it this coming up Sunday. See whose lariat is stronger and whose lariat can knock each other out. So my lariat's already proven. I've knocked out the champion. I've knocked out both champions. Flash Flanagan, he was the champion. Both times Corsaw had a little interference, which, we already went through, cost me both shots at that title. But I've knocked out some big boys with it. So mine's proven, but he's challenging me with his, so I guess we'll see this coming Sunday.
But he says his has endurance. He hit 1,000.
Again, I'm sure it's just 1, 2, 3. Oh my God. And this, if you ever see him in person, his mouth always runs. I mean, he never shuts up. And I think this time his mouth kind of overrun his butt because what's the saying that his mouth is cashing checks that his body can't cash, So we'll,
Close.
we'll see next Wednesday. We'll come back to this and see how it went. I just can't believe he challenged me. The boy can probably see my chin if he's standing next to me, so he's already got to look up. Huh?
Standing on a phone book.
Yeah, standing on the phone book. Jesus, I just don't see it.
Just shoulder level, you're going to hit him across the nose.
Oh, yeah, and a lot of people tell me, oh, your opponent's shorter than you. You need to throw it lower. I said, no, I throw it to knock their head off, so I ain't gonna throw it around the guy's neck. I'm throwing it from the nose to his eyes to his mouth. I'm taking that head off. That's my whole goal every time I throw that thing. Like, there's times where I have bruises on my arm. There's times where I have teeth prints on my bicep just from how hard I throw it. And two of the opponents have already lost teeth. So, I mean, sorry for their luck, but it's happened. So my Laird's already proven. We'll see how his stands up to mine.
Yeah, I just don't think he's gonna stand up much for long.
Right. If I have my way, he's going to be knocked on his ass. But
That's right. In the 80s, well, was that wrestler that would always call people out, and then he would take off running when they would come out? You need to run around the ring the whole time. Who was that guy?
there's probably so many of those guys.
Yeah, but
well, even modern day, Seth Rollins, he runs his mouth around, and when someone tries to catch up to him, he runs away. So, I mean, it doesn't matter back in the day, because, even Macho Man, back when he wasn't, on the good side of things, he would constantly run his mouth. And then if you catch him, he'd be begging on his knees, oh, please, no, don't do that. I mean, Ric Flair was the same way, so.
Okay, the legend of Ric Flair, that's the biggest one there.
Right.
I think it's Ric Flair is the one I'm talking about. I seen Macho Man, but, I mean, come on. Macho Man, he was really good running his mouth. He brought frosting with it. He brought little creamers and garbage cans and ice, and when he'd run his mouth with Mean Gene, he would always use those props. So.
I mean, there was, I seen a match not too long ago. I mean, of course, it was an old match because this guy's already passed away, but Mr. Perfect used to do it too. Drop down to his knees in the parade. Oh, no, come on. So, I mean, so many, Nate. In that same month, we talked about that one was March 11th. March 25th, that's going to be the Shriners. That's the Shriners Temple. Yeah, that's going to be in East St. Louis. It's actually St. Louis Avenue. I've got it marked down 609 St. Louis Avenue. Again, you can call the SICW hotline and get your tickets, or you just show up. But, we don't know what matches are going on. All we know is we got two special guests in the house. We got Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. is going to be in the house, and then Tony Atlas is going to be in the house. Now, Tony Atlas can still go. A couple of years ago, actually, I went against Tony Atlas and Bob. It was in a tag match, and I had a few licks in on Bob, but me and Tony pretty much went toe to toe that night. Of course, he always had to do a little flexing, prove that he's still strong, and he is still strong. So it's going to be interesting. I know Tony's going to be wrestling. I don't know if Bob's going to be wrestling, but even Bob still gets in the ring. Because I was watching one of his matches, I think it was about 2 months ago, that a fan in the audience of some show that Bob still goes all across country. So, I mean, one weekend he might be in New Jersey, the next weekend he might be in Tennessee. He still travels and he still wrestles. So I know Atlas does the same. So it'd be interesting to see what they're doing that night. If they're just there to sign autographs, meet the people, or if they're going to be in the ring wrestling. And if they're in the ring wrestling, who is going to be their opponents? So I'm sure we'll find out as we get closer to March 25th. But I think it's going to be interesting. Two Hall of Famers, Tony Atlas, him and The Rock's dad, Rocky Maivia. They were the first black, African American heavyweight tag team champions. I don't know why I said heavyweight. They're just tag team champions. The first for WWF at the time. And you can see that in The Rock's little TV show he's got going on, Young Rock. Which, on a side note, and I didn't know this, one of the guys that we're wrestling on January 14th, Peyton Ayers, he actually is in that TV show. He plays a young D'Lo Brown.
I thought it was Savio Vega.
No, he plays D'Lo Brown.
Nice.
In that. And I haven't talked to him directly, but, I was actually watching the show, and I paused it, and I was talking to the wife. I said, "Is that Peyton?" And she goes, "Yep." Evidently she came across his Facebook, and he was doing a little promotion for it, saying that he was in it. And evidently it's a recurring role, so he's going to be probably in it all season.
Nice.
Because the Rock was in the Nation of Domination back when not when he first started, but when he was trying to break ground. And, D'Lo was part of that group. So as much as I dislike Peyton, it's kind of cool that at least he's, in a TV show that's broadcasted, around the world.
Yeah.
It's going to make it sweeter when we pin him and we can say, we pinned this TV star /
Great D'Lo.
Right, fake D'Lo. That's going to be funny. But yeah, so those two are announced for the March show. And like I said, it's at the Shriners Temple in East St. Louis. The one show that I can't wait for is the St. Louis Hall of Fame show.
Yep, we just had some big announcements on that too.
Yeah, I've got it written down. So St. Louis Hall of Fame is May 13th. Let's see here. I've got the name of the building. Let's see here. The Aviation Hotel and Ballroom.
You're going to want to buy those tickets ahead of time too.
Oh, yeah, because this is actually going to, these are going to sell out just because you got people from all over coming to St. Louis just for that day, because it's going to be a fan fest. So it's going to be an all-day thing. You're going to have the legends come in and sign autographs alongside us, the future stars of the business. And then we'll have the wrestling show that night. But at some point in time, we're going to have the Hall of Fame inductions, which we already announced last week that Gerald Briscoe is going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. So he's going to be in the Hall of Fame with his brother, because Jack Briscoe is already in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I've heard rumors that there's going to be like wrestling trivia possibly, that they can win some prizes, and that's kind of cool, because I always like to test my knowledge a little bit. Not that they'll give me the prize or anything, but but so going over that, some of the things we found out that John Nord, which used to be called the Barbarian, which used to be called what was his name in WWE or WWF at the time? The Berserker.
Yeah.
So the Berserker is going to be there. Of course, Barbara Goodish is going to be there, and that's Bruiser Brody's widow. And John Nord was trained by Bruiser Brody, and he's holding up his trophy, Nate. That big old Battle Royal memorial
We can't mention this show and Barbara Goodis without mentioning the trophy. Because that will also be on the line.
Now
Yeah,
that you
so
lifted that up, that kilt wearing dude on Facebook is gonna say you're just greedy.
Oh, we're talking about where this trophy gets defended, so you got to show it at that time.
Yeah, so that trophy only gets defended once a year. And Bobby's had it so far this whole time. Of course, he's had it this whole time. But so Bobby's going to have to defend it at the St. Louis Hall of Fame. So basically, it's just a huge battle royal. You get thrown over the top, you lose, you're out of the match. Last one standing in the ring gets the trophy, and Barbara Goodis is normally the one that hands out the trophy. I know she handed it to me when I won, and I know she did it for you when you won last year. So it's always cool, you know, Bruiser Brody or King Kong Brody, whatever you want to call him. You know, he's a big influence in my life. Matter of fact, in my truck, if you take down the sun visor, you'll see his Topps baseball card right there. I have it in the plastic case. It's just so cool. I got one in my dresser drawer too. Totally different baseball card, but it's Bruiser Brody. I used to have a wrestling figure still in the box, still in the case, and I had it on the wall. But my youngest son actually took that down and opened it up and was playing with it one night when I got home. I was a little pissed off about that one. The funny thing is that figure that he opened up, you know, I probably bought it for like $13, $15 at the time. That thing's worth $150 right now. And it's just because they don't make Bruiser Brody wrestling figures. You know, he's been passed away so long, and no one holds that character. So, you know, Vince McMahon can't make another one without Barbara Goodis's permission. So no one else can make one. There was actually I do know she authorized Powertown to come up with a Bruiser Brody action figure.
We need to get Triple H, or you guys need to get Triple H to do a new Legend series where Bruiser's a part of it, and you know all the Hall of Fame legends of the past.
Well, that's what this Powertown is actually doing. They're coming up with wrestling figures that one didn't have one, or you know, it was back in the 70s, early 80s, because they're doing like a Greg Vanya, Vern Gagne. They're doing Lou Thez. Never had a wrestling figure. He's going to have a wrestling figure. Stan Hansen, of course, Mr. Lariat himself. He's getting one. You know, back in WWE or WWF, he was the Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich. But, you know, he's a Texas
That's
boy.
That's the only one that I remember, so.
Well, there was Kerry, there was Kevin, there's David. David was like the oldest one. He was also the first brother to pass away. You know, that whole family is just full of tragedies. You know, because Kerry shot himself. David, man, there's kind of rumors that he just had too much pills in his system, but they were legit prescribed to him. Some people say they weren't prescribed to him, so you never know. There's Kevin. Kevin's the one that's still alive. He wrestles barefooted. That's what always was like. He was rare. You rarely seen someone wrestle barefooted. You know, him and some other guy that I haven't seen in a while that wrestles for SICW. He wrestles barefooted too. Gosh, you remember that guy's name, Bobby?
Purple that full Purple Passion. I am glad he is gone. There's weird stuff out there.
And if it's weird, you can probably find it on Bobby's page.
Oh, I found that clip of you on Bobby's page, so yeah.
Oh well, that's not the weird part. You know, he can have that on this page too. So that's. But there was another Von Erich. Actually, I think there's one or two more that actually killed themselves. I know. Yeah, there was a younger one who just took his life at a very early age, and then there was another one that wrestled, who was he had some sort of tragic accident that kind of left him like on the autism spectrum. You know, you don't want to say the R word anymore, but he kind of left him. I would just say on the autistic spectrum, and he wrestled for a while, but he ended up killing himself too. So the whole family is just full of tragedies.
Oh,
But-
Kevin, David, Mike, Chris, and Jack.
Yeah. So Jack was the father. You know, Jack just died of old age. He didn't kill himself, but you know, David overdosed. Kerry shot himself. Who else did you say?
Let me go back. Kevin, David, Mike, Chris, and Jack. Jack the older, we already talked about Kevin.
Yeah, so Mike was a wrestler. He wrestled with them. He was the one that I said it was the R word, and it was after a tragic accident, because whatever accident occurred, I remember hearing stories that he ran just this high ass fever, and his body temp was so high that it kind of screwed him up. But he continued to wrestle, but he killed himself, and then the other one that you mentioned, he was the young kid, because I think he was in the 13 or 14 year age that he killed himself too.
Well, Jack, he died after touching electrical wires.
Oh, that was the first one that died.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
I remember that too.
David, the Yellow Rose of Texas.
Yeah, David was the oldest brother. He's the one that passed away with overdose.
Yeah, in Japan at the All Japan promotion. John Baba.
Bruiser Brody was actually with him then. Well, he's the one that actually discovered him, tried to get him help. Because he was in his hotel room, and Brody had to break down the door or something like that to get to him. Because he wasn't answering any phones or answering any calls or anything. And I think Brody was the one that actually called back home to tell his dad. Horrible.
Weren't you the one talking about where Kerry had his foot cut off?
Yeah. He was in a motorcycle accident. He hid that forever. Because the tail end of WCCW and the beginning of WWF, when he was there, no one knew because he would hide it. But he was missing half of his foot, and he was still able to wrestle. So it's kind of crazy to hide something like that and still keep your quality of your matches up to par that no one can notice.
Still compete.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Side note, Kevin, the one that's living still, he was born here in Belleville.
Yeah.
Born, I want to say he was it Memorial? I think he was.
I think that's what I read once.
Yeah, Memorial. But they used to live up in Collinsville, too. When I guess it just made it convenient for when they were wrestling here in St. Louis, that they lived over here and didn't have to commute back and forth from Texas. But, yeah, Kerry was always my favorite, and like I said, he's getting an action figure. Herb did bring in Kerry's daughters, because Kerry went into the Hall of Fame, and I want to say Kevin went into the Hall of Fame a few years ago, and the daughters came in to accept. Of course, they were at Broadway, MMWA, when they got inducted into the Hall of Fame. And then Kevin also has twins that are currently wrestling as well. They're the only, one of the daughters, Carrie's daughter, was a wrestler. She wrestled for TNA or Impact, as they say
Lacey.
now. Yeah.
So, looks like 3 out of 4 of them killed themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shot himself with a gun.
yeah, 44 for Carrie, and it doesn't say what Chris did, and I'm so upset.
Kerry actually shot himself with his dad's gun. He actually came home, talked to his father, said that he was going to go shoot at a shooting range, grabbed his dad's gun, and used that to kill himself.
If anybody's watching, don't kill yourself.
Right. Life is too important. And just because you think you're all alone, you're not. There's someone who's always
the last
thinking
one
about
was 21. He's 21.
The whole life ahead.
Yep. But Kevin's sons been wrestling all over because I know they were in Impact for a minute. They were in Harley's group for a minute. I know they went to Japan for a while. It's just going to be a matter of time before you see them in like AEW or for that matter the WWE. Something with the heritage that they have.
Yeah.
Because they were Texas. WCCW, that whole organization, of course, was built around the Von Erichs. That was just Texas. That was Texas wrestling. The only other ones that came out of Texas that were famous that had a promotion, not as big as WCCW, but the Funks had their own wrestling promotion down there too. I just don't think you got like the world wild name, that the WCCW did. So many people came out of WCCW. Bruiser Brody came out of it. Stan Hansen came out of it. Of course, all the Von Erichs. You got the Missing Link. So many people. Skandar Akbar. It's crazy. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Of course, he wasn't Stone Cold. He was Stunning Steve Austin back then, but he came out of there. So a lot of famous people came out of WCCW. Well, we went on, and we said we were going to keep this one short.
Well,
You don't roll.
This
Right.
is still 30 minutes shorter than the last one.
Well, I still haven't even finished going over this Hall of Fame. So John Nord's going to be there. Barbara Goodish is going to be there. And this one that I'm probably going to fanboy out on this one. Brutus the Barber Beefcake is going to be there. Him and Hulk Hogan were so tight. They were in WWF together. And then when Hogan left and went to WCW, he brought him with him. Of course, Brutus the Barber's been so many names in WCW. I know he was a biker at one point. Then he was the Zodiac. But yeah, the Beefcake, the barber part in WWF was probably his most famous character that he did. I was talking to you earlier. You don't remember him coming out with the shears, Nate?
I remember Beefcake, but I don't remember the shears.
It was like big gardening shears. It wasn't like normal scissors. Right.
And once he pinned you, he would start chopping at your hair. And those shears are not made for hair. So he had to be pulling hair out and everything when he was cutting that. But that's
the decade of the mullets.
Right,
he was cutting some mullets off at that one.
Yeah. But he too got in a horrible accident. Of course, his was on the ocean. I don't know if he was sailboarding or jet skiing or something, but he has a lot of metal in him. He's got they even played that off in WWF where he would come to the ring with like half of a face mask to protect him. And you can look it up. He like his whole head swelled up, and they had to crack his skull in so many places to keep it from actually, because he should have been dead.
Damn.
He came back and still continued to wrestle, which is crazy. There was an episode, WWF has got, or WWE has that show that they take whatever famous articles of clothing or weapons, and they try to find those. It's like WWE's Hidden Treasures, or I think that's the name of it.
Yeah, it's a great show. If you haven't seen it, definitely look it up.
Yeah, I watched a couple of that where they got some of the face masks from who the hell was it?
Kane?
I think, yeah, it was Kane, and then the Undertaker.
Yeah,
had
Kane's face mask. That's the one I watched.
Yeah.
I think you sent it to me.
Oh, yeah. But they did an episode on Brutus the Barber, and they found his original shears. And it's crazy, some of these guys that collect. I mean, I collect some things of wrestling matches that I've been in, or some wrestling figures that I've wrestled people, or ones that as a kid I was all into. But the people on this show, I mean, they spend thousands and thousands of dollars for their collections. I mean, they collect Ric Flair's robes, and some people collect old title belts, and that has got to be in the $100,000s for these old title belts.
Well, you guys are collecting belts?
In a different way. We're collecting current ones. But yeah, some of these guys, man, one guy had everything Macho Man you can think of. He had so many outfits of the Macho Man, and he had the trading cards of the Macho Man with the St. Louis Cardinals farm team, but different outfits. It's just crazy. I mean, I would love to have all the money that they have, or even their collections, because their collections are crazy. But yeah, so Brutus the Barber Beefcake, we already talked about. That's the Bruiser Brody Memorial Battle Royal, and it's just going to be an all-day thing. So it's going to be one of the major nights of St. Louis wrestling. And that's just the beginning, because me and Bobby heard some secrets of some other people that are coming. And
secrets you can share, or secrets you have to stay within the fold?
I think we're going to hold them a little close right now until they come definite.
Right. But they're not just coming to like sign autographs. They're coming to wrestle. And we'll just drop a little hint. The former WWE tag team, he was one half of this tag team that might be coming. Very controversial guy. He's probably got 50 YouTube videos discussing everything that he dislikes about a certain promotion or certain talent scouts, Triple H and Vince McMahon and all them. But we'll keep that a little secret until we can actually confirm it. And once the promoter gives us the thumbs up to, then we'll be happy to share it. But it's going to be cool. But yeah, so that is May 13th. I don't have a start date time yet, because I think they keep just adding to it. But again, you can get your tickets sicw.org. I'm sure if you go to the hotel, the Aviation Hotel and Ballroom, you can probably get your tickets there too. But definitely an interesting card. Gonna be an awesome night of wrestling.
I won't miss it.
I'll be there, filming.
Yeah, I'm sure we can drag Nate out there.
Yep, I'll be out there filming.
All right, I mean that's so that's all the future cards we have. You know, January 14th is our next one. Then we talked to. I mean, I know we're gonna have one in February, but we got the 2 ones in March. You know, March 11th, and then when March 25th, and then you know we jump to May. There's always gonna be a show in East Grand Isle. And I'm sure as they come up, we'll let you guys know the date and the times and everything. But really the only thing I had plans to talk about is the TV show from Sunday. We can go into that if you guys want.